This is tutorial 1 of 4. In this tutorial I will show you how to build a form in Visual Macro. First, start the Visual Macro application and go to the Macro Manager tab page. Select Open Workbench. You will need to ensure you have the administrator version of Visual Macro in order to edit or create macros. If the Workbench has opened, then you do have the administrator version, so let's continue. Okay, there are 3 main areas. 1. The macro tree. 2. The form designer, and 3. The properties dialog. Let's begin with the form designer. This is where you drag and drop controls from the control toolkit onto the form. Click, hold and drag a decimal control onto the form as shown and position it roughly into place. We can also change the size of the control with the mouse, as I am showing you now. This new control can now be seen in the controls node of the macro tree. Now let's look at properties. If I select the control on the form, or select the control in the macro tree, the properties for the control are shown in the properties dialog. Select the control we have just added to the form by selecting it. Let's change the name property to something more meaningful. Change it from decimal input 1 to the new name of height. Now repeat the process by adding another decimal input and give it a name of width. Okay, now add a choice list to the form, and position it so that it looks similar to my form design. Change the name from choice list 1 to panel type. Next, select the items property for the choice list, and click the ellipse button. This is where you add the choices. Type 1 choice per line like so. Add type 1 and type 2 options, and click OK. Next, we are going to say that all the new controls need answering by the user at runtime. Select each control one at a time, and set its required property to yes. Now add 3 labels to the form and position them as shown. Change the label value properties to height, width, and type for each control as shown. Okay. Let's now save this macro. Click the Save button and save the file as my first macro. Okay, now add a text input to the form. I will now show how to delete a control. Select the control by clicking on it either on the form or in the macro tree. Now right-click, and select Delete. If you now click the Debug button, you can see how your new form will look at runtime. Okay, that's the basics of form design covered, and you are now ready to move to tutorial 2, where we will add some rules to the form.